I think we're going to see loyalty programs that were previously well entrenched in their own brands open up their arms, right, to be much more inclusive. You mentioned partnerships earlier. You know, you look at what British Airways and Avios program are doing now, where, you know, they are actively going out and getting partners way outside of areas they would have looked at before. Now, this is probably a cause not only of the loyalty program wanting to be broader than just the airline, but also the cause of the partners at the other end being much more receptive to the fact that being part of a greater, more valuable ecosystem has a value rather than investing in their own program. Now, some of that might be short-term thinking, but for some brands that makes absolute sense, because there are synergies in place, both from the brand and currency perspective, that just makes that a no-brainer. So my prediction is going to be that you're going to see a lot of the well-known brands, well-known loyalty programs embrace, you know, environments and partnerships and other brands that they wouldn't have otherwise, maybe, you know, 2-3 years ago.
Big focus for next year will be review and redesign. So we're facing a global recession, facing cost of living crisis. The airlines are facing a status cliff where they've extended status, but business travel hasn't recovered the way they were expecting. We talked about falling membership. We've also seen the success of programs like Built in the US, which has been valued at $1.5 billion with only 500,000 members. So people are going to say, right, I need to really redesign my program. I need to look at the fundamentals of my program about what we talked about before, which was the value and ease of interacting with it. Are they right? And also, are there things I can do to revamp that and look to the future? So you've seen the likes of Starbucks with Odyssey, with Web3, where they're looking at using NFTs to reward customers, and how that's all going to develop, who knows? But I think 2023 is going to be the year of the redesign, to say, how can I make my program fit for 2023 and fit for the future?
Totally personalization, because we have to go outside of typical loyalty mechanics and provide a personalized and consistent experience across all touch points to the consumers.
I think the major trend for over the course of this entire decade, the most impactful and important trend over the entire decade will be brands setting up more open loyalty networks where they're able to collaborate with complementary brands as partners. And the reason for that is most brands don't have that many frequent customers that are spending a lot with them. But those frequent customers are who they've allocated most of their resources to over the last 20 years. And so in order to engage with the mid-tail or the longer tail customer, sort of the less frequent customer, the customers need to be able to earn the points that they really want from almost everywhere they shop. So if I really want to collect Avios, I should be able to get those at the convenience store, the pharmacy, when I renew my insurance contract, or for most other categories of monthly discretionary spending. And I think the retailers, especially the medium and smaller retailers, also recognize that if they have their own standalone loyalty currency, it's only going to be relevant to a subset of customers. And if they want to be relevant to the majority of customers, they need to offer 1, 2, 3, or 5 popular loyalty currencies that the customers are most interested in collecting. And that requires that these brands connect with each other, establish commercial agreements, and then can complete loyalty commerce transactions to be able to issue, redeem, or exchange loyalty points. So that might almost sound like a self-serving proclamation, but because that's exactly what Currency Alliance enables. But but that's exactly why we created the company. We believe that in order for brands to go from 20 or 25% customer engagement to 50, 60, or even 70% customer engagement, they're going to have to start offering the points that the customer really wants to collect, or they're going to have to enable their loyalty currency to be exchangeable so customers can shift value between programs and then accumulate enough value in one program where they can reach interesting rewards.
the technology that enables people to be able to redeem their rewards in an easy way will be the one that takes off. I mean, we can see it early in a lot of programs now that when programs introduce an easy way for consumers to use their rewards, it just takes off. And I think that it's a consumer pressure. And I also think it came actually due to COVID, because we saw it early with the airlines. And my personal take on it is that a lot of members in airline programs had a ton of points saved up. And all of a sudden there was no airplanes to fly on, right? Because of COVID, right? And they could, and these points were just standing there. And I think there has been a pressure, let's call it behind the scenes for lack of a better term, on airlines, for example, to offer other redemption possibilities. And that has, I think, caught people's attention and say, hey, if I can use these rewards for something else than, traveling, then it's really cool. So I think that is a key thing that will take off.
If you look at the predecessor of loyalty ecosystem, we called it coalition programs. And if you do a survey globally with loyalty professionals, there'll be mixed sentiments about coalition programs' effectiveness and success. I think one of the things that coalition programs, did not really deliver on, that the next gen loyalty ecosystem, seeks to improve upon, is the empowerment of the ecosystem. The coalition program largely remains centralized. The data access largely remain the hegemony of the central coalition player. The loyalty ecosystem seeks to federate the kind of the loyalty program execution to all the participants. In other words, every participant of loyalty ecosystem has a seat at the table, and that problem is largely solved through technology. So one of the improvements, or one of the major departures in terms of how those ecosystems were delivered in the past versus how they would shape up in the future, is the whole ecosystem empowerment, where every strategy, every technological feature will be thought through from the lenses of ecosystem and to deliver ecosystem advantage, which means everybody benefits, the program benefits, the partners benefits, as well as the members benefit. And I think that's the ultimate success of a loyalty ecosystem. So I would definitely think that the next generation platforms essentially catering to ecosystems will be architected in order to enable this.